Ladies and gentlemen, it is now clear that Raila Odinga is destined to become the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. There is this latest update on the election process of the chairperson, deputy chairperson, and commissioners of the African Union Commission. And from that update, it is clear that fate has conspired to have Raila Odinga elected as the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. I want us to analyze that statement verbatim, because clearly, just like I keep on telling you, in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. When Obasanjo came into the country and Raila Odinga made that declaration that is going to contest for the position, it was clear that there were very powerful forces behind that decision. And therefore, Raila Odinga was definitely going to be elected the chairperson of the African Union Commission.
I was one of those who midwifed, because we believe that people who have held the position of head of government, either at the prime minister level or at the presidential level, will be able to knock at the door of incumbent prime ministers and presidents without much ado. And such people will probably be the right person, armed with other attributes at this particular time. And as I was saying, we midwife Konare in some years back, and maybe at this time we should be looking at that sort of. But whoever we look for must come from a country that is not of extreme.
Let us go through this statement. It says, update on election process of the chairperson, deputy chairperson, and commissioners of the African Union Commission. The Permanent Representative Committee has agreed on the following recommendations, and which will be incorporated in the draft decision to be presented to the Executive Council. Now, the first question we should ask ourselves is, who is the Permanent Representative Committee? Now, according to African Union website, if you go to their website, the Permanent Representative Committee conducts the day-to-day business of African Union on behalf of the Assembly and Executive Council. It reports to the Executive Council, prepare Council's work, and act on its instructions. All African Union member states are members of the Permanent Representative Committee. They have several functions here. If you go through, I don't want to go through all of them, but clearly this is the body that is mandated to prepare elections, and it also monitors the implementation of African Union budget. It considers Commission's financial report, and it facilitates communications between African Union Commission and member states. It makes recommendations on areas of common interest to member states, particularly on issues on the Executive Council agenda. One of the issues of the agenda, one of the agendas of the council is the election of the next chairperson, and it also acts as an advisory body to the African Union Executive Council. It prepares its rules of procedures and submits them to the Executive Council. Now, with that understanding of who the Permanent Representative Committee is, let us proceed with what the statement is saying, so that you can understand why it is clear that Raila Odinga is destined to become the next chair of the African Union Commission. Number one, inter-regional rotation. The Permanent Representative Committee agreed on approach to option B, which means that Eastern Africa region will be eligible to nominate candidates for the position of chairperson while the Northern Africa region will be eligible to nominate the candidate for the position of the deputy chairperson. You see, the biggest threat to Raila Odinga was actually Northern Africa, because they've never produced the chairperson. So based on the rotation, it was going to be either the turn for East Africa or the turn of Northern Africa. And I'm told Raila Odinga was going to get stiff challenge, I think from one of the states from Northern Africa. Now it is now clear that the chairperson is going to come from East Africa. And that's why I'm insisting that fate has conspired to have Raila Odinga elected. So far, East Africa countries or member states have agreed that Raila Odinga is going to be their candidate. So far, Raila Odinga has made it clear that Museveni is the one who is going to propose his name. So which means we are not going to have another candidate from Uganda. Tanzania has agreed to support Raila Odinga, which means you are not going to have another candidate from Tanzania. Of course, there were people who are trying to push for Jakaya Kikwete. Then we have DRC. They have agreed to support Raila Amolo Odinga. Paul Kagame has endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga. The current deputy chairperson of the African Union Commission comes from Rwanda, which means based on the update, the next deputy chairperson is going to come from Northern Africa. So technically, Dr. Monica is out of equation, which leaves Raila Amolo Odinga probably as the sole candidate. Of course, there is the story of some former minister from Somali, some lady who is also interested. But I don't think she is enjoying the support of East African member states. So clearly, unless something else is going to happen, Raila Odinga is destined to become the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. Number two, the other decision is that inter-regional rotation. Inter-regional rotation should be based on regional consultations and not on the English alphabetical order. I think in some instances, they say that, okay, it's rotational, but it's based on alphabet. So that in East Africa, Burundi's turn. Yeah. But now it is based on, according to what they are saying here, it is based on regional consultations. Raila Odinga has consulted Tanzania. He has consulted Uganda, of course, with the help of William Ruto. He's consulted Kagame. Shekedi is on board. So technically, this is also locking out alphabetically any country which was going to come ahead of Kenya. So which means these rules are actually designed to make Kenya produce that candidate. And they are designed to ensure that Raila Odinga becomes the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. Let us proceed with what this statement is saying. Number three, rotational gender parity. Because normally, according to the rules, it's supposed to be gender also. So they are saying the Permanent Representative Committee agreed on non-application of gender rotation in the application of the principle of rotational gender parity. The Permanent Representative Committee position aligns with Kenya's interpretation of this principle. Thus, both East Africa and Northern Africa region are at liberty to nominate candidates of either gender for the post of the chairperson and deputy chairperson, respectively, in the African Union Commission elections 2025. Again, if you read this clearly, it is intended for Raila Odinga. Because if the current chair is a man, rotationally, it means it would have been the turn of East Africa, but a woman. But now they've changed that. It's going to be the turn of East Africa, but they are free to produce either gender, so that they are not confined to the rotation of gender also. Because if you look at previously, when Mrs. Zuma was the chair, The person who took over from her was a man. Then the term of that man ended. Faki took over, if I'm not wrong. Then from Faki, was it Jiang Ping, Zuma, Faki, supposed to be a woman. Now they've changed that rule clearly to favor Raila Amolo Odinga. And it is Kenya who proposed that, who made that proposal. That is the turn of East Africa, but let East Africa produce their candidate. Not necessarily a woman. And that's why William Ruto is going to take credit for this, ladies and gentlemen. Because if he didn't want, probably they would have pushed for a lady. And which lady would have been that? Okay, it says, number 4, which is the last, allocation of the commission's portfolio. The 6 commissioners' posts will be open for competition by candidates nominated by the 3 remaining regions, that is Central, Southern, and Western Africa region. So it means the rest, the other regions will compete. So based on that update, it is clear that fate has conspired to have Raila Odinga as the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. So, Baba, congratulations. I would also want to take this opportunity to ask you if you can congratulate Baba in advance, because I don't think there is any other hurdle on his way. Which begs the question, who is calling the shots at African Union? Who? Is it the member state? Or is it possible that there are some powerful forces who sent Obasanjo to Kenya? Who sent Obasanjo to Kenya? That is the other question that we need to figure out. Because clearly, Obasanjo did not just come to Kenya to convince Raila Odinga to contest if there were no powerful forces. And these powerful forces are the one calling the shots. Which means I'm still seeing the hands of the US government and the British government, or superpowers, in the move to have Raila Odinga appointed as the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.